Welcome back to the Broto Fantasy Football Podcast. It is your host, Tim, and thank you for joining us today. We have what you need for the Bye-Pocalypse. Everything you need to cover your butt with some deep sleepers. Don't forget, if you want to get the full episode, not just the news updates, and yeah, that's it, not just the news updates, uh, patreon.com/Broto Fantasy, if you are so kind, for as little as $3 a month. That is literally a half a coffee a month, right? All you gotta do is sign up, put in your credit card, and the entire episodes come to you. You could just put them right on your Spotify, right on your Apple podcast. And the reason why we need to make some money at this whole thing is because we want to support our baby, our child, the only tool you need to be your own expert, the Fantasy Football by Broto app. We have spent 7 years breaking down fantasy football, as a profession, but we've been doing it for 20 years recreationally, and we know what goes into building and maintaining a good fantasy team. And we put everything you need in one place, and that's the Fantasy Football by Broto app, and it's free right now. So there's literally nothing you lose. Go check it out. Yeah, that's my spiel. So let's get into today's episode. I can't wait. It's been a minute since I've been on. The Broto Fantasy Football Podcast begins now. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Broto Fantasy Football Podcast, presented by BrotoFantasy.com and the Fantasy Football by Broto app, the only tool you need to dominate fantasy football. I'm back, baby. It was a long week last week. I had myself quite the sickness, but I'm here, and no longer will I be fantasy sick. I am no longer deprived. I'm here with the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, the best damn fantasy analyst out there, Michael Petrop. What's good, bro?
What up, Tim? Welcome back, brother.
Yeah, man, it was I didn't even get rankings in last week. That's how bad it was. Like, I could not look at a computer screen for more than 20 minutes without wanting to absolutely rip my entire brain out of my head. It was something, man. But
It be like that sometimes, yo.
yeah, man, I'm still recovering a little bit. Like, I'm not all the way back yet, but I'm all the way back enough to stare at this computer screen for a little while and talk to
You have some
people.
color in your face.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was looking a little ghostly. You know what? I was at work. For those of you who don't know, I'm a school teacher, and I teach high school 9th and 10th graders. And I was at work, and my ninth grader, last period, 10th period, she looks at me. She's like, "Yo, are you all right, man?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I feel fine. I'm just like a little cold." She's like, "Dude, you look terrible." I'm like, "Well, thanks." Right. And then all of a sudden, like 30 seconds later, I felt like legit I was gonna pass out, like straight up, just like fall backwards. Like, I never felt that before in my life. Like, I've never passed out. So I don't even know what that feels like. And yeah, that's what I felt like. So I had to sit down. I just sat down for the rest of the period. I was like, "Yo, guys, keep working. If you need any help, like, ask each other." And my assistant principal, I was talking to her in the hallway. She's like, "Yo, you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Like, why does everyone keep telling me this?" I wasn't. I wasn't fine.
They
So
knew.
yeah, everyone knew before I did. But we're hoping to know about all the fantasy goodness before everyone else does. That's kind of what we're banking on here on the Broto Fantasy Football Podcast. So let's get into player news. What do you say, Mike?
Let's do it.
Before I get to player news, just an interesting one, an interesting signing. Let's lead it off with Julio Jones, man, joining the Eagles. A little bit of a
Young Julius.
Yeah, man, a little bit of a, or as Matt calls him, Julio. I've never seen someone so hell bent on mispronouncing a name on purpose. Like, I mispronounce names, but I do it by accident. Matt just is like, I'm calling this guy Julio no matter what. But yeah, Julio Jones joins the Eagles. Is this something to care about, you think, Michael, or just this is a fun blast from the past? Julio Jones maybe comes in and catches a touchdown.
It's a fun blast from the past. I'm sure in a game where they're up by like 3 touchdowns, maybe they'll throw him a fade or something. But I don't really see any real fantasy impact coming from Julio Jones. He was in better situations than what he's going to be in right now with Philly playing behind AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goddard. Like, they got a lot of weapons, so Julio Jones isn't going to be a target earner by any means. So I don't think there's any real fantasy impact here, but maybe he's able to resurrect his career a little bit as like one of the wily old vets who just helps a very good team get even better.
Yep. And then, with the Eagles, like, what happened to the Eagles last week? By the way, what
Feel
was
like
that about?
they lost to aspiring Super Bowl favorites,
Yeah,
the New
yeah,
York
yeah.
Jets.
Yo, by the way, if Aaron Rodgers was on this team, and I know, I hate to say that, but like the way they're playing right now is just like, imagine they had a great quarterback on the team. It would just be
Oh, all the people before the season when Aaron Rodgers was healthy, who had the Jets winning like 7 games or something, look like complete idiots.
all right. Let's get into the news. We'll go in, or news time order, because we want to give you the latest and greatest right away. It's going to be a lot of injury news, so strap in. Tyler Lockett remained limited with a hamstring on Thursday's practice, and same thing with Zach Charbonnet. He did not practice. How are you feeling about these two Seahawks? Are you worried about Tyler Lockett? This is a hamstring. We know how those soft tissue injuries go. You're not playing Zach Charbonnet regardless. So Tyler Lockett, what's good?
Yeah. Well, Charbonnet would if he's out, you gotta expect even more snaps for Ken Walker, which is great if you have Ken Walker. But for Lockett, I mean, if Lockett's playing, then you're gonna play him. He's been pretty. I mean, all the Seahawks offense has been kind of slacking this year outside of Ken Walker. It just seems to be the Ken Walker show every time they get close to the end zone. So, but if you have Tyler Lockett and like it's how many teams are on by this week? 6, 4 or 6?
6 teams. It
Yeah,
is
so
the
there's a
Bye-Pocalypse.
yeah, so I mean, I doubt if you have Tyler Lockett, you're leaving him on the bench. I'd be
No,
shocked.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, that's what scares. That's what's scary. The scary part is you're not leaving him on the bench, and you need to play him. So if he has a hamstring and it's messing him up, that's the scary part. By the way, the teams on by this week: Carolina Panthers, Cincinnati Bengals, Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans, New York Jets, Tennessee Titans. So
Yeah, but Tyler Lockett's a guy who has spent his like career sliding before contact and things like that. Like he knows how to avoid getting injured. If he is injured, he's
it's a
like I'm
hamstring, man.
sure he's gonna know. But like if he plays, I'll trust him.
These hamstrings are bothering anyone. We'll get to it. So Devonte Adams in the news as well. I don't know if you heard what he said. Um,
He
he
wants the football.
he wants the football. He's trying to get the football, and you hear him. Definitely a situation where we say this a lot. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Um, it's not. It looks like it's going to be Brian Hoyer. I guess it's gonna be Brian Hoyer. I don't know if you heard anything about it. Last time it was Aiden O'Connell, but Brian Hoyer was the one who came in last game, played well. So I guess it's gonna be Brian Hoyer. I don't see why Brian Hoyer wouldn't just completely pepper Devontae Adams with targets. He should be a good play this week.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, I don't think they've made it clear at all who's going to be the starting quarterback, Hoyer or O'Connell. But either way, if you have Devontae Adams, he's not someone you ever sit. Even if he's had a couple down weeks, people forget that the week before that he went crazy. Like it's Devontae Adams, so you're playing him.
And here's what I mean with hamstrings. Greg Dulcich. So Greg Dulcich injures his hamstring
Yeah,
and then misses 4 games, comes back in the game, comes out of the game with a hamstring injury, and now his hamstring is hurt again and did not practice on Thursday. Like, this is what you run into with these freaking hamstrings, bro. You can never tell. Like, I know I'm
yeah,
not a
but Tyler Lockett didn't like he wasn't out for a game. He wasn't on IR. Like it was never that severe.
I'm just saying, like, obviously I'm playing Tyler Lockett, but it's just it's something to be nervous about. Another guy to be nervous about, Devontae Smith. He expects to play Sunday evening against the Dolphins, even though he is dealing with a hamstring injury. Smith told the media, "You ain't got to worry about me. Um, I'll be out there." Smith has just got one limited practice in this so far. I mean, he's honestly been bad. All the wide receiver twos that were being drafted as wide receiver ones have been bad, and he's been no exception to the rule.
He had a case of the Butterfingers against the Jets. I'll tell you that much. 2 point blank passes right in his chest that he dropped.
Oh, one of them where he had Green, it might have been a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah, there was a lot of space. When that happened, me and Jason were watching it with each other. We just kind of looked at each other. We are like, all right,
Yeah,
that
me too.
works. Like,
I was like, oh crap, because he was behind both safeties. Like,
no,
if he
yeah,
turns it
it was
upfield,
a big play.
he's gone.
Yeah.
Um, Ramondre Stevenson has been removed from the injury report. He will play against the Bills. Pratt Fryermuth was limited in Thursday's practice. He was a full participant Wednesday, so you imagine it could be a load management type thing. Look, he's been dreadful, except outside of one game so far this year, and he's missed some
Yeah.
time. But he's in a fantastic matchup. Would you want to play Pat Fryermuth this week?
Yeah, I mean it's super top heavy. The tight ends, then it's just like a bucket of lower end tight end ones that you have to, if you have him, play him. Pat Fryermuth is one of those guys. Like I'm not sitting Pat Fryermuth for like I don't know who's on the waiver wire, like Kate Otten or something, or like people even like a bunch of options are on by Dalton Schultz. For example, he's available in some leagues. But yeah, I mean, if I have Pat Fryermuth, I'm not happily starting him. He's been bad this season. The Steelers' offense has been bad this season, but that's the tight end position.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's tight ends, man. I think my biggest miss this year in terms of like draft season and telling people who to pick. I think Juju Smith-Schuster was my number one miss this year. I really thought that he was going to have an opportunity to be better in a better offense, but he's been a non-factor on an offense that's just been absolutely horrible. But he did
Well, I
get eliminated.
remember
Good.
September came around and it was reported that Juju didn't have a knee. Basically, it was like I wish I knew that in July and
Yeah,
August.
in
And
August. Yeah.
I knew he was dealing with injuries. I didn't know it was to the point where he's like a crippled old man.
Yeah, he looks like it, to be honest, on the
Yeah, he
field.
looks ridiculously slow and it's not
Yeah.
good.
Um, he was limited in Thursday's practice due to a concussion. Hunter Henry did not practice on Thursday, so an already decrepit New England offense gets even more decrepit with these injuries. And man, that was definitely my biggest miss. All those Patriots. This is what I get for believing in Patriots.
Yeah,
Um,
I didn't get it. You're an
yeah,
idiot.
I didn't. Yeah, well, I'll take that one. Take that one right on the chin. Debo Samuel shoulder did not practice on Thursday. I don't believe anything that his head coach says about anything. So it's hard to go off what he said. But this is a Monday night game, so keep an
Yeah.
eye out. You know, these injuries, especially two big guys like Debo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey, who also did not practice on Thursday because of his oblique injury. Kyle Shanahan says he's day to day and he could play. This man is tough because these are two guys that you depend on in your lineup,
Yeah.
and not only that, their replacements are probably needed, particularly Christian McCaffrey, are probably needed for a bunch of teams that are Bye-Pocalypse right now. Let's say hypothetically, if there was some sort of person that I don't know who it is, but let's say you had Derrick Henry on your team, right? And now you need an RB2 and you got Elijah Mitchell on your bench and you don't know what you're going to do because you also have Devontae Foreman who could play because Roshan Johnson is still in the concussion protocol. What do you do, Michael? What do you do? Michael, what do you do? Michael, you're on mute. We can't hear you. All right, there's some Michael's having some technical difficulties. He just gave me the finger up. But yeah, what do you do? I'm gonna have to figure that out. But by the time Michael comes back, he'll figure it out. Let's move on to the next piece of news. So Wan'Dale Robinson, he was a full participant in Thursday's practice. He looks like he's gonna go. More on Wan'Dale Robinson later in this episode. Saquon Barkley was limited in
I'm
Thursday's
back.
practice. Oh, there he is.
My I told you my computer will randomly just like turn off the audio.
Yeah.
I just got a pop-up of like the audio with a cancel sign through it. So I was like, are you kidding me right now? So I had to go to the system settings. I don't understand why that happens.
Because your computer sucks, man.
Yeah, it's a
No, but
decent. The old one sucked.
yeah, let's keep it pushing. Let's keep it pushing. Big news: Jimmy Garoppolo will not play Week 7 against the Bears. We already talked about that. Aiden O'Connell, Brian Hoyer. One of these guys is going to start. We don't know exactly who yet, but I mean, do you assume it's Brian Hoyer? Or do you assume it's Aiden O'Connell? Do you think that it's a situation where Brian Hoyer is more situationally ready to take over for an injury in game, and Aiden O'Connell is more he can get prepared and be the starter when they actually play?
Yeah, I would expect it to be Hoyer. I feel like Hoyer played better than O'Connell did when O'Connell was given the shot, but I guess we'll see. Either way, it's a downgrade from Jimmy G.
In today's LOL news, Terrace Marshall was given permission to seek a trade, demanded a trade.
Future New York Jet, Terrace Marshall.
No, stop it. Why would you say that? Wait, why would you do that? There's an interesting one. Kyler Murray back in practice on Thursday. he had his 21-day window opened. Ooh, I was under the impression that maybe Kyler Murray was going to kind of just sit out this season, take one for the team. Maybe they go for the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, but nothing about the moves that the Arizona Cardinals have made since the season started has said tank.
Yeah, they're
It's
playing hard.
yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe they released Colt McCoy for Josh Dobbs." This now they're really going down the drain. It's like, listen, this team was a lot better with Josh Dobbs than they would have been with Colt McCoy, and I think they knew that too, and they were trying to win games.
Yeah,
And he plays a more Kyler Murray-esque game anyway. So it'll be interesting to see the Cardinals when Kyler Murray returns. Kyler's a good player. He's a good player. He makes it. He makes the people around him better. So,
he's all
but
right.
I mean, he's better than Josh Dobbs, even though Josh Dobbs is performing
Yeah,
admirably.
I'm not gonna argue with that.
I would say Kyler Murray's top 10 at his peak, especially right now. So it's a weak quarterback landscape.
I'm not a Kyler Murray guy, but I mean, we'll see how he plays when he returns.
Aaron Jones is a big one. Limited for Thursday's practice. He looks like he's going to play. Gets the Broncos, baby.
Yeah, fire him up. If he returns against the Broncos, then you play him. Easy as that. It's easy math. Broncos equals play.
I'm going to read this right from Ralph Vacchiano. Daniel Jones was limited in Thursday's practice. Jones was once again limited in practice. As head coach Brian Dable pointed out, he has still been cleared. He hasn't been cleared for contact. The limited practices are encouraging, but relatively meaningless if Jones doesn't get cleared for contact. So, Mike Garafolo said that Jones has a legitimate chance to play this week. What do you think about Daniel Jones this week? Does it change your mind at all? This is a really, really good opportunity. We're gonna again. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more against this Broncos defense that's been completely just terrible, just absolutely
Yeah.
horrible.
Um, I think that the fact that a Daniel Jones injury um showed that Tyrod Taylor can run the offense just as successfully shows how bad that contract was for the Giants gave Daniel Jones. If anything, they played their best football this past week against the Bills. If Tyrod Taylor just knew how to manage a clock better, you'd expect that from like a 35-year-old veteran. They would have put up more points and maybe would have won that game. But yeah, I mean, Wan'Dale Robinson had his best game. Darius Slayton had his best game. Not ideal for Daniel Jones, but whether it's him or Tyrod Taylor, I don't even think it changes the way you look at the pass catchers.
Daniel Jones right now is just like, I don't know, white Tyrod Taylor. Like they are literally the same player.
Yeah,
Like
which
they have
is
the same skill set. They have the same everything.
with completely different contracts.
Yeah, with very, very different contracts. I think Tyrod got paid once though, didn't he? Not like $40 million a year. Don't get me wrong, but it's a new day. I think he got like $20 million a year one year. I might be mistaken though.
I don't know. I don't
Jameer
recall.
Jameer Gibbs sounds like he's trending towards playing, according to Ian Rappaport. Um, Craig Reynolds was on the injury report for practice. David Montgomery is going to be out. This could finally be the time Jameer Gibbs breaks out, Michael. It could actually
Yeah,
happen.
week 7 due to injuries. Maybe we'll see. If all three are out, who do they even have? I don't even know who their
Jameer
backup is to
Gibbs.
Craig Reynolds. No, I'm saying if
I mean,
Montgomery,
Jameer
Reynolds,
Gibbs
and
is
Gibbs are
already
out.
the third string running back.
Well,
Let's
no, he was
let's
the
find out.
backup running back.
What do you mean? You got David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs.
You just called Gibbs the third string running back.
No. I called what's his name?
Reynolds is the third
Reynolds, the
string.
third string
Yeah,
running
you
back.
said Gibbs. But I'm
Oh, did
saying
I?
I don't know. I don't know who their fourth string running back is because that's whoever that is would be the guy.
They don't have
Probably a
anyone listed
practice.
on their
Yeah, I was
depth chart.
gonna say who's on their
Yeah,
practice squad. Probably one of those
I know
guys.
because they had Bam Knight and Bam Knight is injured.
Bam Knight's out the season.
Yeah,
You're
so
just
Bam Knight
losing running
played.
backs left and right.
Yeah, they're the running back. It's like a running back graveyard in Detroit. Crap. But yeah, maybe he does. Let me ask you a question. What's your like confidence level on Craig Reynolds if he plays this week? With Jameer Gibbs there, we saw Craig Reynolds come in for David Montgomery, but we also saw Bam Knight come in for David Montgomery when he
Well,
got
no,
injured the
Bam
first
Knight's
time. That
yeah,
was the
Bam
first
Knight's
time.
out.
Right. And
It doesn't
so,
matter.
this time we saw Craig Reynolds though, and he wasn't that impressive. He didn't run well.
I mean, yeah, he's not like a star running back by any means, but then he laid out that awesome block for the Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown, which was dope. Probably earned him a few more snaps. But yeah, I mean, if he plays, the Lions running back room just scores touchdown at a ridiculous clip. So I do think he has some touchdown upside, but I think he's more of just like a lower end flex play that's very touchdown dependent.
All right, Michael. Who would you rather play, him or Tyler Algier?
Probably Algier.
Him or Jeff Wilson?
This is assuming Gibbs is also in.
This is assuming Gibbs is also in. Yes.
Jeff Wilson.
Justice Hill,
Hill.
Jordan Mason.
Mason.
Wow. Antonio Gibson.
And probably Reynolds.
Okay, so that's kind of your line. So you have him kind of like where I have him right now. He's like on running back 39 ish,
Yeah,
around.
it's just he's going to be super touchdown dependent. If Gibbs is out, then I'd definitely move him up ahead of those guys that you mentioned.
All right. Let's move forward with I mean, if Gibbs is out, you definitely have to. He's the starting running back, but he also missed some time. He has like multiple injuries right now, so
Yeah.
let's see where he's at. Kyron Williams is definitely going to be out. Jordan Rodriguez reported that he's using a scooter and has a cast around his leg. But here's the thing: everyone assumes that Zach Evans is going to be the next guy up here, but they went out and they got Myles Gaskin, and they got Darrell Henderson, who had knows the system.
Started last year
For them. Zach Evans is a rookie. You never know what's going on with him.
They also elevated Royce Freeman.
Yes, Royce Freeman. How could I forget? So you got two guys coming in off the street. One of them knows the offense very well. You got the rookie, and then you got the guy that's been on the practice squad. Can you make sense of any of this?
I mean, it seems like Zach Evans would reasonably be the next guy up,
but why?
Depth chart. He was on the active roster, not on the practice squad. He wasn't on the couch.
There's no depth chart. These guys just signed.
He was the next man up last week. Most Kyron Williams got hurt, and Ronnie Rivers was also hurt. So, but again, yeah, banking on a third string running back as being the guy is questionable. I'm sure a bunch of people spent a shitload of money on Zach Evans, fab money, in desperate spots, because if he does work out, if he does get the Kyron Williams role, it could be a huge role. Maybe it ends up going to Royce Freeman, Darrell Henderson. We don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. My best guess would be Zach Evans at the moment, because he's the one who did it last week when the injuries occurred.
Yep. Yeah. Some good news on the other hand. Deontay Johnson probably gonna play. Full participant in Wednesday's practice. I would love to. I have Deontay Johnson on literally almost every team that I have. So, for what that's worth, I would like to see him come back.
I mean, you know how I feel about Deontay Johnson.
Jets traded wide receiver McCole Hardman
to the Chiefs.
Back to the Chiefs.
Not for nothing, the Chiefs wide receiver room has been abysmal, and Mecole Hardman had several top 24 finishes last year when healthy with the Chiefs. So in a couple of weeks or so, I could see Mecole Hardman maybe being an interesting play.
Interesting. That is interesting. Rashawn Johnson of the Bears did not practice Wednesday, still in the concussion protocol. If he plays, do you think that he automatically takes the basically early and just like every down role, workhorse, main back role from Deonta Foreman?
I mean, I'm sure he would get most of the snaps, but Deonta Foreman played well enough, I think, that he'd definitely get a lot of early down carries as well. But I mean, if you're still in concussion protocol this Thursday after missing the week prior, certainly not a good sign.
Jeff Wilson, his coach Mike McDaniels said he did not suffer any setbacks last week, and he's ready to go. We'll be talking a little bit more about Jeff Wilson later in this episode. So hint, 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 hint. Now let's leave it off on this one. A sad way to leave it off. You know how we do. Actually, you know what? Let's one more before that one. Roger Goodell signed a contract to stay on as NFL commissioner for through 2027.
All right. So, nice little extension for Roger Goodell.
Yes.
Roger that.
And we'll end it on this one. Anthony Richardson will undergo shoulder surgery and is out for the remainder of the season. I was one of those guys that did not believe in Anthony Richardson, but with that being said, he's still a super exciting player. I like his future. I'm excited to see him in the future. It sucks that his rookie season has to end this way. I do hope that he learns how to slide and give himself up in those situations because all his life probably he's been bigger than everyone else, just kind of like enforcing his will, especially on the run. He can't do that in the NFL anymore. So he
Yeah.
needs to just chill out, or this is going to or I fear this is going to be a narrative in his career. So I hope this at least is happening now. It's happening young. He's got a taste of the league. Next year, he can come back fully healthy and with the proper tools in place to maybe keep himself healthy for an entire season.
Yeah, I mean, he impressed me in his first few games in the NFL, but yeah, unfortunate. Now it's Minshew mania in Indy.
I was gonna say, what is that like? Obviously, I feel like is it too? Is it not that obvious? I feel like it's obvious that this is clearly a win for like Josh Downs and Michael Pittman.
For Josh Downs, yeah, Michael Pittman was getting like every single target Anthony Richardson was throwing.
Yeah, but he still got mad targets from Minshew last game too. He's still
Well, yeah,
getting everything.
he's still gonna get a bunch of targets, but it's definitely better for Josh Downs.
What do you think? Better for Jonathan Taylor or worse, or slash Zach Moss?
I probably would. I would probably preferred Richardson just because he's a better quarterback. But
All
what are
right,
you gonna
Mike.
do?
That's it for the first half of the episode. We are going to hit the Patreon now. Remember, patreon.com/Broto Fantasy. If you want to get the entire thing, let me put this up there right there. Yep. If you are on the YouTube, you
Yep.
can see it right on the bottom. If you want the entire episode and what we're going to be talking about, by the way, little teaser, we have deep sleepers for you. So if you're caught in the Bye-Pocalypse, we have guys that are deep, deep, deep down that you can play and count on and have a good game. So if you really, really need help, we got some deep sleepers, one at every position for either of us. So 8 deep sleepers. And then we are going over our rankings review, and then we're hitting that mailbag. We answer every question from the patrons. So come on over to patreon.com/Broto Fantasy. You can hook that up right on your Spotify, right on your Apple Music, whatever app that plays it. It literally goes there as if it's a regular episode. You just see it like a light blue logo rather than a dark blue logo, which is what you see. That's the only difference. So yeah, with that being said, peace out, everyone. We'll see you next week, and good luck on your fantasy weeks this week. Oh, don't forget to come in live every Sunday. YouTube.com/Broto Fantasy. We have live start sit advice right there, live, right
Yep.
there.
Yep.
11 to 12 Eastern. Be there and be square. Later.
Later.